So let me collapse the layer palette so that way we have a little more room here. And if you take a look, I'm going to go back to the home. What we had before on the home page was I had a circle, an ellipse for my logo. So I'm clicking and dragging to put that ellipse in there. I'm also holding the shift key. I just let go of it so you can see what happens. If you don't hold the shift key, it's just like any of the other products that you might use. Shift constrains proportion. So therefore it makes it a circle. Otherwise, it's an oval. So I'm going to hold the shift key, create an ellipse as large as I need, let go, and then I'm also going to go back to the toolbar here, and you can see these are the tools. They're limited, you don't have a lot, but there's a lot you can do with them. So I'm going to grab the selection tool, which is at the top. I'm going to start to move this over, and you can see this pink line come up. The pink line indicates I'm in the middle. My ellipse is in the middle of the page, which is what I was looking for. So it's what they call a smart guide. So you just drop it when you get there. I wanted a little space from the top because up here I want to put some text. And I also want to put some text below it as a quote. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the type tool in what they call point format. So if all I do is click on a point and I start typing, it will start typing without a box. Usually you put your text within a box so that way you can control certain things, but not having it in a box allows you to type as long as you need and put breaks in paragraphs where you want them to go. And the opposite of that would be to use the type tool where you click and drag. Oh, sorry, you have to release the other one first. Click and drag, create the box that you want, and start typing here. Now I'm going to select all that text just by double clicking, Command C, Command V a few times, just to give myself something to look at that I know that this is where my text is going to go. One of the reasons that you might want to put it within a box format is that you can control it as well in terms of how big that box is or how small that box is. But the breaks are just going to go with the flow of whatever size this box is. So now we've got a bit of a setup going on for our main page. Let's talk about the word list. So the same thing is true here, that in the word list I had a little bit of a dialogue at the top. If I don't feel, like actually typing it again, what I can do is select this box and again copy, Command C or Control C, select words list, and then just Command V. And what you'll notice is it pastes it in the exact same location that I copied it from. So this can also make things move rather quickly for you instead of you having to move things around all the time. And next we want to put in, it's better to put in something that you know where things are going to be flowing. So I'm just going to grab another text box and put it here. It should be noted that if you're working with text boxes and you don't put any text inside of it, as soon as you click off of it, it will disappear as if it's not there. It cannot be an empty box. It doesn't exist then, as far as XD is concerned. So let me put another one in there. And in this box, I'm just going to type word. Nope, apparently I'm not going to type word. Let me try that again. I'm in the wrong tool. Sorry about that. I'm going to type word. I'm going to use the formatting tools here on the right hand side, the formatting palette, and move this to the center. So I've moved it to the center. The other thing that I can do at this point, and I highly suggest this, that when you're building the wireframe, make sure that you actually put something in the boxes. Maybe the font you've decided to use, you should use that. And the size that you've decided to use definitely should be in there, because you really don't want things to be all over the place and then you'd forget to change things when you need to. So in this case, I'm going to actually just close up this box just a little bit, and this is going to be the first word. The easiest way for me to get all of the different words from the list that I want to use in here is to use something called repeat grid. So if I use repeat grid, I just click on it, you'll see the green handles, drag it, and it will keep going until you stop. And one of the things that you should also note, don't go past the bottom edge. Like, don't even get into right at the bottom edge. You want to leave a little bit of space so that way when the user is looking at their phone in terms of the mobile application, they can see everything and they can also tap everything. Like I said, the iPhone has a little bar that comes up at the bottom, and so if that last word is where that bar is, it will be inaccessible. So this is how the repeat grid works. The other thing you'll notice is that when I hover over, I get this pink line. The pink line is the space in between. If I then click, hold, and you can see I've got 20 pixel space in between each one. If I want a little more, I click and drag, or a little less, I click and drag. So depending on what it is you're looking for spacing in between, that's how you're going to work it. And again, if you do it in the wireframe, that means it makes it a lot easier when you go to design. So we have one more screen that I'd like to work on with you, and that is the standard screen for what the words and definition is going to be. So I can copy another way. I can still do select this one, Command C, Command V, or I can hold down the Option, and for the PC users, that's Alt, and click and drag. So that way I get a copy of this exact thing. So there's lots of different ways to do this. Now, for this one, I don't need this list. So I'm just going to click on it and select it. Apparently I'm not. There we go. I'm going to click on it and select it and delete it. And this text as well. I'm just going to select it and delete it. So I need a box for an image to go in. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is create this box. And you can create your box any size you want. Doesn't have to be the same size as mine. And also your word list can be adjusted to any level. So if you're teaching something like, grade school, you can actually make it for grade school level. I'm just going to use something sort of arbitrary in the middle. But the next thing I want to do is create the type area here at the bottom. So this is where the definition and use example will go. So I'm leaving myself a roadmap. And again, you noticed that because I use centered text on the last one, that's what I'm getting here. So if that's not what you want, then go back and you leave your cursor in here and you go back to left or right or centered or whatever it is that you want to use. Lastly, I left myself a design element. I created something that actually looks a little like it's a button, but it's not. It's just an announcement area of what is the word. So I'm going to just click and drag and create another rectangle. And when you create a rectangle, you also get these little dots. See that? And what those are the ability to create curves or a radius on the edges. You have different ones you can use, but the one we're looking for is just the one that's sort of standard. So if I click and drag, all four are going to go. And the reason I know that is because right here is exactly all the information I need. And this one right here shows me that it's going to go the same. The radius will be the same for all the corners. If you want it to be different for some corners, then you want to use the one that's next to it. So you can create, a multitude of announcement areas, or as this looks, a button. Although we're not going to be using it as a button. So again, I'm going to use the selection tool to pick that up, move it into this arena, and inside of there, I'm going to leave myself a little marker that says word, because that's where the word's going to go. And I'll pick that up and move it to the center. I should be able to see that from my smart guides. Okay, apparently I'm not going to see that from my smart guides. So I will just drop this here for the time being. The other thing I need is something to tell me what this box is used for. Everything should be labeled so that way you know where you're at, what you're about to do, and what is needed. So again, I'm going to take the type tool and just put image. in this area. And lastly, the last thing that I didn't do that I should have done, I'm going to go back to this first one, and I'm going to type in the word logo for this mid-range. And this will give me pretty much everything I'm going to use in terms of the quote list that was there, the other words. The only thing that we haven't touched is the sidebar, which we'll do when we get to the design.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Click the link in the description below to explore more free online professional development on the Adobe Education Exchange. And click the link on screen to subscribe to the channel for more videos.